Hi everyone, I'm Jade, and if you don't know me, I put together a THORChain weekly recap called the RUNE Recap, and more recently I started Cexless podcast, where I do long-form interviews with founders. But today I wanted to do something a little bit different, and in fact it's something that a lot of you have been asking for. There are so many amazing rockstar community members in the space, and it's time we spotlight them and we all get to know each other. Think fun, casual conversations that just happen to be recorded. Today, I am joined by Dennis for our first episode, but you probably know him better as PatriotSounds on X and Telegram. He is a mod and educator. He will spend hours and hours answering all of your questions. He's one of the biggest THORChain bulls I know and just always happy and positive. Dennis, it's such a pleasure to finally meet you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for making the time today.
Yeah, my pleasure. It takes a lot to learn THORChain. It's a big girl. She's got a lot of moving parts, so it takes a long time to understand it. But when you do, you realize, wow, this is an incredible protocol.
Absolutely. Before I get into THORChain, I would just love to know a little bit more about you and how you first discovered crypto and ended up down this crazy rabbit hole.
Sure. So I'm a little late to crypto. I started in about 2019. I started learning about Bitcoin, just fell in love with it right away about the concept, but figured out quickly that there's a big problem, right? We have assets that are on centralized exchanges and you are given an IOU, and this is not like the peer-to-peer system that it was envisioned to be. And so in 2020, late 2020, I discovered THORChain thanks to Grassroots Crypto. Shout out to that guy. I went down the rabbit hole on his videos. And then I saw Chad Barraford's videos and I was like, man, this is something really incredible. So I was like, I got to meet these guys. So I messaged Grassroots Crypto, Chris, cool guy. Now I talk to him on the regular, and I had to go meet Chad. So I flew out to Colorado. I think it was ETH Denver 22 or 21. I can't remember, but I got to meet him. So funny thing with him is so it was like a little bar. We have a little shindig with food, and I go in. And this is, I swear to God, the first thing I saw him, he was dry humping this guy. And
What?
there was like 100 people. Yeah, he was dry humping this guy, which I respected because you got to establish dominance. And then it also takes confidence to like dry hump a guy in public. But I was like, okay, so this guy's the real deal. I met him, and super awesome guy. So cool, so smart. I met 9 Realms guys, Dennis, Gavin. I've met Cal, a bunch of people. And that's one thing before we go into it is if there's anybody who has been in this community for a while and you haven't been to a blockchain conference, you need to go and you need to meet these people in our community because they're absolutely intelligent and hilarious. And I haven't met one person where I'm just like, that person sucks. Everyone's cool, everyone's unique, and really diverse. Not necessarily like in the conventional way, but just like everyone's skill set and their experience. Like, it's become abundantly clear why we're becoming successful as a community. Yeah, and so I haven't stopped. I educated. I became a moderator before I knew it. I help forward like community sentiment to the devs because it's good to have your pulse, on what people are thinking. If there was any bugs, I would forward them, and think that's gotten really rare now, which is a testament to 9 Realms and the core devs. And I try to get people to integrate THORChain and go to blockchain conferences and spread the gospel. Because if you're a wallet, and don't take this the wrong way, if you're a wallet and you don't offer cross-chain swaps, you're obsolete. But don't take that the bad way, because we can very easily unobsolete you very quick. You just reach out to 9 Realms Swap Kit guys. If my understanding is right, you can go from making no money and not being able to swap to being profitable in under a month. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Sounds like a no-brainer. And
Yeah.
I was just reading that Ledger is making way more now on the THORChain swap fees than actually selling their devices.
Yeah, I saw this a few days ago. Ledger made $24,000 on one big swap. Okay, imagine how many ledgers you have to sell to get that amount of profit. Not just revenue, profit.
Wow.
It's game over. Because, okay, if there's any wallets or interfaces, let me break this down for you. If you have a wallet and you are custodying someone's assets, that means they trust you and they like your user interface. They like the security you provide, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But if they want to swap assets, like if they want native Bitcoin or whatever it is, they often have to send their assets from your wallet to a centralized exchange, surrendering custody, swapping on the centralized exchange, which is money that should be going to you. That's your margin that you're losing. And then they send assets back to your wallet. That's terrible. They should be able to swap assets within your interface, within your wallet, and you can configure the fees how you want, but it's not hard to be cheaper than a centralized exchange. I remember what I said, $24,000 on one swap. One. That's an incredible, this is game over for centralized exchanges. And that's just true. I don't know, like it sounds too good to be true, right? I say that and I think someone listening to this will be like, dude, this guy's so full of it. Like, no. Okay, here, this is what we're gonna do. Go to runescan.io, RUNE, R-U-N-E, scan.io, and you will see various analytics, swap volume, what interfaces and wallets are making on revenue. Don't trust me. Just look at the data for yourself.
You are clearly very passionate. You've been living and breathing THORChain for 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what is your motivation? What makes you so bullish on THORChain in general that you have decided to spend most of your time online, become a mod, an educator?
My primary motivator is a free and fair world. I know that sounds like I'm like trying to make myself like an altruistic angel. It's really self-preservation, because if we do not have a medium of exchange that doesn't require a third party, then there's not much of a future. The next two generations of children, they're under threat right now. And we need infrastructure in place that allows them, as they get older, to swap assets from asset A to asset B without fear of getting rugged or whatever. In my mind, there are two forms of tyranny. You could break it down in more subcategories, but to keep it super simple, there's economic and then there's kinetic. Kinetic is violent, of course, and then economic, you've got banks debanking people or censoring them. When you have your money in your bank account, that's not your money. That is a money that's assigned to you, but it's controlled by the bank and they allow you to use your money. Blockchain technology completely removes this. And the last thing we have to fix is a third party, a centralized exchange, being necessary to transact or things like that. The last thing a centralized exchange does well is a fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. And then once we get that squared away, which is just a matter of time, we're going to live in a world where everyone's free and people can prosper. I have friends all over the world now. I have a family, sorry, not family. I have a friend with a family in Iran. And this is just a regular guy who loves his family, who's trying to make it like anyone else. But because of sanctions, he's not a threat to anybody. He's a medical professional. And I don't want to say who he is for obvious reasons. He lives in fear because of censorship, and he's not allowed to use blockchain technology. But because he has the ability to swap assets permissionlessly with no KYC, he's able to live a decent life. And that's what THORChain does for the world. It gives people the ability to live and be free and flourish. That's my motivation. Because if we can't live in that world, I don't have a future, right? Yeah, you could say, I believe THORChain's going to do well and I can make all this money. And yeah, okay, but if you don't have freedom, wealth is irrelevant, right? That's what I think.
You're right. There's so many people all across the world that don't have the same opportunities we have, and that's powerful.
Yeah.
Kind of makes the price action seem a bit irrelevant.
Yeah, people like to whine about the price, don't they? We can touch on that later, but yeah, THORChain is doing unbelievably well. And if you look at the metrics, I mean, our community is interesting, right? Let's talk about one of the founders, the guy JP. He was under the moniker Lena. His avatar was like a picture of a really hot girl, and then he came out as a man, and as he basically committed a catfishing war crime on the community. Like, you imagine the lonely THORChads were just hoping that he was a girl. But
yeah, I wonder how many DMs were sent and people just don't talk about it now.
Yeah, it was sad, I'll be honest. But anyway, so people look at this guy and they're like, what is this guy's deal? Like, he's doing a million different things. He's going 100 miles an hour. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the easiest story at all. The guy is a fighter pilot. Like, he's literally gone Mach 2. That's 2,000 miles an hour. That's 3,200 kilometers an hour. Yeah, of course he's got his hands. The guy's an absolute savage.
Yeah.
If you go Mach 2, you can never stop. You're going to chase the adrenaline high. And so we got a fighter pilot. I've met scientists, economists, data analytics, philosopher, engineers. Because THORChain, in order to build it, it takes more than just a coder or even an economist, right? If you're an economist, you can't build THORChain because you don't understand the possible primitives you can build because you're not a coder. Like, your mentality is stuck in traditional finance. If you are a coder, you can understand the primitives, but then you may not make the best decisions, or maybe you need a little help when designing an economic primitive. And that's what we've done. We've essentially invented a new economic doctrine. It's crazy when you talk about it. That's literally what THORChain has done. And so it takes all the shared experience and knowledge of all these people. And that's what Dev Discord is. Dev Discord is an amazing resource where everyone's pitching in, trying to, like, you know, challenging each other. And it's all in good faith, right? Everyone is just putting their best out there. But it takes a share, like, because we've made mistakes, right? And that's fine. It's okay to make mistakes because we're forging the path. And that's the beautiful thing of where we're at right now. We've made every mistake, but we made mistakes in a calculated way. Okay, we're going to try this, but we're going to put a cap on it, or we're going to make a limitation so it doesn't get out of control. And by this process, like, we've had some things like devs where it's, you know what it is? It's like a tension between innovation and orthodoxy, or like iconoclasm and pragmaticism. Like, you have these guys who just want to rewrite the book, and then you have these guys who are more steadfast to principles and their experience. And it's probably not accurate to compartmentalize people, because I think individuals have both these innovative and orthodox tendencies, but it's just directions, right? If you're an economist, you have a flavor like, okay, that's an interesting idea, but maybe we should tone it down or tweak it this way. And then a dev is just, hey, you got to be more ambitious with this thing, because we invented streaming swaps, right? That's been an absolute blowout success. And in that way, we've rewrote the book and cross-chain swaps. We rewrote the rule book in that way too. But now we figured it out. I feel like this community is finally homogenized. We've done all the experiments. Now it's go time. It's go time. And it's so exciting.
What are you most excited for?
Okay, so I got an idea. How about right here, right now on the Cexless podcast, we start the bull run for THORChain, and then maybe, like, we'll start the bull run for CACAO and Maya protocol. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm ready, and I'm sure
now.
everyone else is ready.
Okay, so there's probably people who are uninitiated who are watching this, so let me start simple. Okay, THORChain, what is it? It is a permissionless DEX, the biggest DEX for Bitcoin in the world. It's decentralized, no KYC. If you can sign a transaction, you can make a swap. It's just memo crafting. And it works seamlessly. It works great. We've hardened the code. It just works. And anyone's interested, they can send me a DM, and I'll give you, like, the technical specifications if you want to take the deep dive, or go to Grassroots Crypto. That guy's really smart when it comes to this stuff. But so we have that going for us. We have the first DEX that could do this. We have integrations up the wazoo. We've landed, as you said, Ledger, OKX, Trust Wallet. We got a bunch of littler wallets like Edge Wallet and others that have been added. We're exploding. We have primitives being built that are absolutely game-changing right now. And what's funny is I don't even think many people really understand what is happening right now. And it's not even people who are familiar with THORChain, I don't think they really get it. And I'm not just talking about RUJI, so that's a little hint. But we have something called an app layer that's being built, which is an entire DeFi suite right now. So anything you can imagine, like perps, lending, money markets, leverage trading, all the things that you were sequestered on a centralized exchange, you're going to be able to do on THORChain. That's huge. But do people even know that right now, and that is so mind-blowing what I just said, right? What if I told people, like, right now, there is something being developed that I honestly think could rival the app layer, or even maybe exceed it by a fair margin.
Earlier, you said that maybe you had some alpha for us. Is this what
Yes.
we're getting into?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Is this an alpha
non-
alert? Okay.
This is an alpha alert. I go to blockchain conferences. I do the hard work of going and talking with various teams, and I'm sharing my information for free of what I learned. Okay. So the team that I want to talk about today is something called Moca. M-O-C-A, Moca.
Okay.
What is Moca? Is a point of sale application that's going to use the decentralized liquidity of THORChain and Maya protocol. For those who don't know, Maya protocol is a fork of THORChain. It's a friendly fork, and they support similar but a lot of different assets as well. Okay. So what does this mean? All right, you have a business, okay, and you're selling products. Someone comes in and they want to buy something with crypto. Before THORChain, before Maya protocol, this is a problem, because as a business, what assets are you going to accept? How are you going to figure out how much asset you need in order to sell this product? What asset are you going to keep on your books? Blah, 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 blah. There's a huge block time issues, right? All this crazy stuff. How do you figure that out? Here comes Moca. Ready? Moca's app interface looks like anything you've used before, like a bank app, like a Zelle or whatever, right? It's super intuitive, super easy. What this does is, you're a business, you sell a product, let's just say 10 bucks, whatever, random number. You want to pay with Doge. So what Moca does is says, okay, you're going to pay with Doge. Doge goes from the wallet to THORChain, gets converted into the settlement layer of the business's choice, which can be anything that they support. So like a stable coin, or maybe they want to store Bitcoin, whatever. And then that goes to the business's wallet. So it's a settlement layer, right? So the price is basically deduced, and then the assets are then swapped, and then it generates a receipt, which is like a guarantee of finality.
Okay.
And then it's done, and you've just sold a product. This is crazy.
Wow.
This is absolutely wild. So think about this for a second. You have so let's say Moca, right? It's named after coffee, right? So let's say you're a coffee shop and let's say you have 100 coffees that you sell today that are bought with blockchain technology. You're a super busy coffee place, whatever. Okay. So in this instance, if you're the coffee shop, you want ideally a blockchain with a fast block time, right? So maybe, I don't know, Arbitrum USDC. Okay. And in that case, the customer can pay with that stable coin. And in that example, it would actually go to Maya protocol, right? And then swap to whatever asset, or maybe that is the settlement layer the business wants, Arbitrum USDC, okay? And so you've got one company that sells 100 products. That's 100 swaps. 100 swaps, one company on a planet with over 350 million companies. Do the math. I can't do the math. I have no idea. You see the growth, like, this is the thing people don't understand. Like, we are so early. We are so early. And so maybe people think, why would you use Moca? Why not just use your credit card? Credit card, everyone knows, right? You get charged, the business gets charged a fee. I think it's like 1.5 to 3%.
Yeah.
That's margin that the business is losing by paying to a third party, right? Moca can charge far less than that. In fact, on really low fee like prices, like they don't have to charge a fee at all, because they just want people to use the app, right? You only charge a fee for maybe the bigger swaps. And so the company, the business is saving money if they use Moca. So they can offer a price premium for customers that decide to use blockchain, which incentivizes people to use blockchain, right? And so then you had this positive feedback loop where you have blockchain becoming the preferred way to spend, because it's not hard to be cheaper than Visa or MasterCard, right? Like 300 basis points. Yeah. That's crazy. That's insane. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It blows my mind. So
I'm just trying to process this. So we finally have a real, true, real world application and solution. It's one thing to swap and say, oh, you don't have to go on a centralized exchange. You don't need a Coinbase or a Binance. But it's another to use any cryptocurrency and pay for it in the real world. Isn't that the goal, to be able to actually use all of the tokens?
So you said real world. That's actually important distinguish. The important thing you just said there. So before all the other stuff I mentioned, which are absolutely amazing qualities about THORChain, cross-chain swaps, best price execution, the app layer, doing all this stuff, those features are segmented. They're compartmentalized within a population that only uses blockchain, right? Yes. You can't get a normie to do that because they don't understand what to do, okay? But a normie can very easily make a transition into blockchain, right? All someone has to do is make a simple application that says fiat dollars and it swaps for stablecoin dollars.
Right.
Done. That's easy. That's brainless. And then everyone understands QR codes, right?
Correct.
So QR code, stablecoin, the ability to on-ramp people into blockchain actually is far simpler than I think most people realize. And I think right now we're at the bottom of S-curve adoption. So we're on the exponential growth curve because it's just better. You custody your own assets. You don't have to worry about getting rugged by a bank or getting censored, right? You're in complete control. And there's better price execution. Done deal. The economic incentive is just better. Like you can't, I don't see the way Visa or MasterCard or banks compete. I don't think you can. Even if you, like, let's say you tried to take over Moca or whatever, someone's just going to make another version of it. It's all permissionless. I don't understand the bears at all. I don't get it. You said price and
the forbidden word.
Yeah. Oh God. So this is, okay, Jade, this is the thing. I've been talking to like hundreds, maybe 1,000 people over the years. The one thing everyone knows is like, I don't discuss price. Go to the trading site, go discuss price. But I'll make an exception right now. Let's talk about price, okay? All right, so let's start with a little anecdote. Back in 2000, I think 17, 18, I don't know, I invested in Tesla, okay? And at the time, Tesla was really speculative. There was a lot of people who were influential who said, this thing is going to zero, this can't work, this is nonsense. You could see the videos, people were like, we're maximum short Tesla, right? Okay. So I look at the company, I look at the fundamentals, and it dawned on me, like, whoa, this isn't a car company. Tesla is a technology company. It's a software company. And I was just thinking about the margins on the software alone, never mind the cars. I'm like, whoa, this is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
But still, people were saying this is going to zero. And these are people who are been in the market for a long time, very experienced. So I invested in Tesla, but I actually doubted myself, like quite a lot. I looked at the information. I said, look, I don't see it. I don't understand what they're saying. I'm probably incorrect, but I'm going to invest in Tesla. And if I'm incorrect, I will at least come to learn why I was incorrect. And then I'm going to apply that logic to future investment. Okay, long story short, I wasn't incorrect. Okay, I did pretty well. And this is the thing that kills me about these price people. They live in cliche land. Like, I hear this a lot, like, the market is always right, or the market is never wrong. I don't even understand the logic of that. Why would you use an absolutist qualifier to describe the market? It's clearly wrong a lot. I mean, it was wrong about Tesla. It was like the whole COVID dump and spike. It was a V curve. Really? We couldn't have done that any more logically or efficient than a V. Like, no, the market made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. Or Enron. Enron had a valuation until they figured out that the numbers were fraudulent. And then it went to zero. Was the market right? I don't think so. People could make the argument, no, the market was right. It got revalued to zero. And the thing that kills me is people look at the market and they're looking for a sense of like legitimacy, or they're looking for validation, right? They want the market to reflect what they think they know or what they do know. And that's not how winners are made. Winners are made in asymmetries. When you know something that the market doesn't know and you bet big. So your price arguments to me, like, they're meaningless because stop being a coward. If you think you know something, and this isn't financial advice, do your own research. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm going to lose everything. Do your own research. And if you think that you're onto something, go for it. We're in blockchain space, right? Don't you think we're probably a little nuanced? That there's probably the larger segment of the market that doesn't really fully understand what's going on. So people who talk price, I'm just like, I don't get it. So sorry if I rambled too long there, but
No,
I
it's
had
no
to get that
problem.
off my chest.
And I think you brought up a really good point about asymmetric bets. You know, if you come along and the project is already at an incredibly high valuation and everyone else sees the potential in it, then it's too late if you're looking for kind of an early investor, huge financial reward aspect. And you have to believe when others don't know about it or others don't care.
Right.
And yeah, like you said, I think we are really early. I'm not very technical, but just by doing my Rune recap videos, every week there are tons of integrations. All of the affiliate fee payments keep going up. There's something every week. I have to cut out news stories to keep it in a bite size. There's so much going on. And to anyone that is concerned, again, not financial advice, but I would recommend to maybe go back and rewatch all of my Rune recaps I started in June. And you can just see week after week, things are building and it's the cumulative snowball effect.
I think I completely agree with you. I mean, we're on a snowball right now. We've got it locked and loaded. We're ready to go. The thing with investing, I think, and here's what people, I think, the mistakes. I gave a lot of positive things about THORChain that I think are good. But when I first started watching like grassroots cryptos videos and talking to Chad Barraford, I wasn't thinking what could go right, because that's easy, right? I can say we have great influencers like Jade and she's getting the word out and that's why we're going to succeed. Or JP's a fighter pilot, genius, Superman, he's going to do good. Or Chad Barraford smarter. Pluto from Nine Realms is an amazing coder and he's just been through it all and he's in the blah, 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 blah. Okay. When you're looking at something, don't look for things that are going right. Think of things that could go wrong. I try to figure out why THORChain will fail every day. I constantly attack THORChain in my mind. Collusion of nodes, a terrible bug, a consensus failure, losing out to competition. I think of all the doomsday scenarios. It is at the point at which I fail. My mind no longer thinks these things are likely and they're getting progressively less likely. That's when I get excited. And that's when I can celebrate things that I love about THORChain and what it does and what it brings. I think the first principle basis that anyone should look for things why it won't work. That's what we do in science, right? We have a scientific theory. We try to disprove it. It is at the point at which we fail to disprove it. That is when a new theory is adopted. That's how you should do it. When we're kicking butt. I want to be challenged. Bring it. DM me. What are we doing wrong? What could I do better? What could THORChain do better? That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear why we're winning. I want to hear what we can do better.
I would argue that there's not many people in the space that have as thorough of an understanding about THORChain and all of its intricacies as you. For someone that is maybe newer to the project or they just don't understand because there's so much to get, where would you recommend they start? Who can they ask questions to? Should they be in Telegram? Should they be in Discord? I know there's THORChain University.
Yes, those are all good recommendations, all of those things. And there's one really great video I love. It's from Kenton. He's like an economist investor guy. And he made an amazing, it's 2.5 hours.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that is the most amazing video. If you want to go from 0 to 100, you got to look up Kenton, Kenton, THORChain. Just put those words. I'm sure it'll come up. And look for the long video, or if you can't find it, come to Telegram. I'll hook you up, no big deal, or send me a DM. But he takes you from 0 to 100. He gives you like he takes TradFi, because he comes from TradFi, right? And he gives you good juxtapositions between what THORChain's doing, what it has done, and the future, and the past, so like the problems we've encountered, and people like Eric Voorhees, or, the Binance CEO, talking about the power of THORChain and where this industry is going. It's going to decentralized exchanges. I would go there. There's a lot of great people in this community. Sam Yap, he's a wonderful educator too. If you go to any of those places that you mentioned, Telegram, University, Grassroots Crypto, you're going to get the information you need. But be prepared to do the work. It takes a while to understand. This is not a one and done thing. If you want to understand the nitty gritty, go with the idea that you want to study, because that's what you got to do. But once you get there, I think you're going to be happy.
Yes, I think so too. We got away from it a little bit, but you were talking about Moca, and I was wondering, do you have a timeline or time frame when we can expect this?
Yeah, the alpha, right? So yeah, Moca is incredible. The timeline, they're actually been working on it for quite a while. And I don't know exact timeline. You know, the joke is you always, if they give you a time, you do plus or minus so many weeks or months. But as far as I know, they're getting pretty close. And maybe sometime when the app layer finishes, or maybe a little after, they've got some things they want to do. They're making new, they're adding all kinds of quirks. I don't know everything that's going on because I don't have insider information. I just literally spent 2 days in Las Vegas and I never left their booth. And I just like, I tried to destroy Moca in my mind, right? Why is this not going to work? Zay, who's the lead guy at Moca, he answered all my questions pretty well. Oh, funny thing about that, we got to hang out with somebody very special, Julia Love. She actually passed away shortly after we got to hang out with her. She's the wonderful woman who is driving around the THORChain Cybertruck. And I got to talk to her about Moca and THORChain. But one of the interesting things that I asked her, because she put Moca through its paces too, and she was impressed as well. But I said, it's a little sidetrack, but I just really want to mention it because I met her once and I lost her forever, so it's so sad. But I asked her, because she has an interesting background. She is an economist and she was a software engineer. That's an interesting combination. So she's perfect, right? And I said, right now in economics, blockchain technology has been around for over a decade now. You know, it's no secret. Are economists getting information or education supplementary to their original education they would get that in some way encompasses blockchain technology and understanding the various primitives and all that stuff? And she said no. And I think that ties very nicely to something that you just said, is that people don't get it. People don't understand what THORChain is. They don't understand what we built. They don't understand what we're trying to build. The world is sleeping on THORChain, not because they want to, but just because they don't understand it and they don't realize the potential of it. Right. And I hope I communicated some of the potential. And the thing too is Moca, the app layer, what THORChain can do, the new integrations, and we have a ton of integrations coming. Holy moly. What really gets me excited is the things that people are building that I don't even know about. The new economic primitives, the new designs, the things that are going to revolutionize the world in ways that I can't even fathom. That's happening right now. And that's what got me most excited. It's a great time. Really great time.
Your enthusiasm is infectious. And I think what you said is really important. There is a barrier of entry to THORChain, and I think it's understanding. I think there's more marketing now, but not many people are going to sit down and watch a 2.5-hour intro video, no matter how wonderful it is.
Well, I hope they do, because you got to do the work. You know, if you get excited by what I'm saying, go watch the video, get some popcorn. Just 2.5 hours to potentially learn about a revolution that's going to forever change the world in ways that are so beneficial. If people don't want to watch 2.5-hour video, okay. What Kenton did is this took me months of just smooth brain thinking before I finally clicked in my mind. Kenton took all of that crazy work I had to do and went and made it into a beautiful package. So don't be lazy. Go watch Kenton's video.
You look like that ad, the president ad with the flag behind you.
Yeah, I love the American flag. Yeah, I'm a stereotypical American. I love guns. I hate communism. I love my country, and I love THORChain because it reminds me of the pro-freedom values that I'm so fond of. That's what THORChain gets me excited. And this community, like I said, the battles we had to go through, like we had some days, like we've had some arguments and spirited debates in dev Discord that would, I mean, you got to be tough and you got to be able to take things on the chin, but it resulted in this protocol, which is just a behemoth. Oh, one thing I probably should mention, One thing that people like to diss THORChain on is the exploits in 2021, right? People hear that, oh, THORChain got hacked or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is where, if you understand the protocol and what we were doing, why this is not a big deal at all. So that was during ChaosNet, okay? Getting exploited was the plan. That sounds crazy to say, but that's why we had capital limitations in place. If you go back to, I think it was like 2020, early 2021, Chad Barraford videos, he's saying, yeah, we're probably going to get exploited. We're probably going to get hacked. Think of it as an investment, right? Black hat, white hat, gray hat hacker, whatever. This is an audit. Mm-hmm. We are paying for an audit of our system because this is a brand new technology, cross-chain, getting consensus to work, the state machine to work, getting everything to work. It's a lot. There's hundreds of thousands of lines of code. It's complicated, but it's running great now. And it's because of that moment that THORChain is where it is today. ChaosNet served its purpose. So yeah, those who like to rag on THORChain that we got exploited, you're damn right we did. And it was the most formative moment. We got 9 realms, we got THORSec, we built all kinds of security protocols like the outbound queue, mimirs that nodes can pause at any time for an hour if they see something suspicious. Mm-hmm. We got a community that's now educated that constantly monitors the network. Yeah, we did. And it is the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. So take that little negative and flip that into a positive, because that's what it is.
I believe that there's so many times when bad things happen, it takes a little bit of hindsight to see that it actually was leading to something so much bigger and better. And thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to forge a trail through a jungle, you're going to veer left, you're going to run into a sheer cliff wall. That's what makes THORChain so amazing, is that we faced the battles, we had the war, and we won. We did it. And it was hard. And sometimes it was scary, not going to lie, but we did it. That's, I think, one of the best things about THORChain is we are a battle-hardened community. We are a bunch of veterans. Yeah. And the people who work on THORChain, there is no one in the world that can do anything what they do, because they're the only ones that have been working on the code. So it's literally the frontier. This is the Wild West, and we're taming it one day at a time.
Yeah, with some incredible talent. I have to tell you, I am irresponsibly long RUNE, but talking to you, like, I don't have enough.
Yeah, so the bull run for THORChain and Maya protocol has just started. It's over. The bears are done. Bring it on. Bull run. Let's go right now. Done.
All right. I want to switch gears a little bit. I know that you are chronically online and you're always in the Telegram. You're always responding to people's questions. But I was wondering, who are you outside of crypto? What do you like to do for fun? What are your hobbies? You said a little bit about your passions, but just paint the full picture for us.
Sure. So I was in the medical industry for 10 years. A lot of that time was spent in the veterinary field. I specialize in anesthesia. I was a first responder for a while. I just did a lot of medical stuff. So that's my background. I don't really have a coding background or anything like that. I'm starting to learn, and I want to be in a position where I can just go blockchain full time, because this is so much better than my previous career. It's so much fun. But I did have a great time in the medical field. I fish a lot. I do a lot of hunting. I do prospecting too. I love going and digging up dirt and doing gold. Lots of outdoor stuff.
Wait, do you find anything?
Yeah, gold's everywhere, but it depends. Like, you have to find a hyper concentration of it. You could just go dig up dirt and pan it down, and you'll probably get a little speck here and there. You got to go down to the caliche layer, which is like the old salt layer, or try to think of locations where it would accumulate. But yeah, no, it's fun. Yeah, you're not going to get rich on it unless you get super lucky. It's just something to do. Yeah. And you also I found like a real Native American arrowhead, and I'm Native American too. I'm like 1/8 Native American, but that was really cool. When you're on the side of a mountain and it's just like so you've got a classifier, right? So you got a 5-gallon bucket, you've got a classifier with a screen on it. And so you put dirt on it and you shake it, right? So you're getting the lower dirt to go through the screen. And as I was doing that, like, this Native American arrowhead just rose to the surface, and it was just like, wow, that's real. That's not in a store. I'm on the side of a friggin' mountain. That's unbelievable. I love stuff like that. I love history. I love learning about stuff. It's just a passion of mine. I love first principles. The things like epistemological, like why do we do the things that we do? When I remember I was like 15 or 16 years old and I was in my buddy's car and I don't even know where we were going, but they were playing music. And then I was listening to music and everyone's like doing this with their head. And I remember just staring at the speaker, and I'm staring at the speaker, and then it dawned on me, I'm like, why do we listen to music? Like, why do we do this? Like, what is the function of humans? Why do we make music? Why do we listen to it? And I had to figure out the answer to that, and I did. But that, I don't know, it's like my brain, I like observing. And
what is the answer?
Oh, okay. So we are pattern-seeking mammals, right? That's where our evolution is. There's patterns everywhere in nature. Tide goes in, tide goes out, sun goes up, sun goes down, migratory session of birds, tracks in the dirt, seasons, crop rotation. There's patterns everywhere, right? You look at me, I look at you, see a face. Like when you go on a board, you do two dots. But the moment you put that half thing, you see a face. You not see a face, right? That's how wired our brain are. We look for patterns. And so music is, think of a light bulb. The light bulb is pattern seeking, but the heat is music. So music is brain candy. It is candy for our brain. It's basically a fun, euphoric, like when you get like goosebumps sometimes, like our brains are so attuned to find patterns that it's basically candy for our brain, and we find a lot of enjoyment in it. And so it's like an effect of our evolution. So that's why we make music. And and I had to know that, and that's cool, right?
That's the same brain that took you down THORChain and having to understand every little thing. So
yeah, I love THORChain right away. I saw, I think, probably 2 episodes of Grassroots Crypto, and I was hooked. I'm like, because back in 2019, I'm just like, we got a problem, right? Like peer-to-peer blockchain, but trading IOUs on centralized exchanges, that's not the way to go. That's not what this is meant to be. And it's actually quite unhealthy for a blockchain. So a cool feature, I think, that some people don't realize about THORChain and other decentralized exchanges is like Bitcoin. This is actually healthy for the ecosystem because THORChain has to charge on the higher tier of gas to guarantee finality, right? So these gas fees are going to miners. So they're getting income from decentralized swaps. That's good for them. So more volume that leaves centralized exchanges that goes to decentralized exchanges, that just helps Bitcoin. THORChain and Maya protocol and other similar technologies, these are complements. Like they're not here to replace Bitcoin. They're here to make Bitcoin the asset it was always meant to be. Just like the app layer, just like Moca. We are taking blockchain and we are turning it into something, the initial white paper, right? Because trading IOUs on a centralized exchange, that does nobody any good. And you don't have custody of your assets in a disaster. And so when I first learned about THORChain, I fell in love right away, but I did not appreciate at the time how difficult this problem was. But like I said before, the hard part is behind us. And I don't want to sound egotistical or narcissistic or so sure of myself, but it's true. The hard issues of the state machine and getting things to talk to each other and all the edge cases, there were so many edge cases, so many quirky things. If the gas does this, or this asset with this amount of integers or whatever does that, and how this language talks to that language. Wow, it was an incredible amount of issues we had to solve, but we solved them. And now, like, our ability to solve these problems is actually quite good. Like, we had a consensus failure. The first time we had a consensus failure, I think it took us a few days to figure it out, right? Because that's hard, because, where did we lose consensus? That's not necessarily clear at all. But then based on us encountering that issue, our devs, our community built strategies and tools that we could quickly, if we had a consensus failure, we can fix that issue again. I don't think we've had a consensus failure for years. I don't think that's really a concern. Yes, of course it could happen. All of our battle scars, like, we wear them proudly, and we did it. And we still have a lot to do, and we still have a lot to build. But the thing that gets me most excited is the vision now. Like, we did all the experiments. We tried all the wacky, cool things. We tried the innovation. We figured out what works. We figured out what doesn't. We've not only innovated, but we're going back to our first principles, our roots. Like, LPs are making a lot of money again. This is great. They've been struggling for a little
Yay.
bit. And
I've
our
been in one
LPs
for
are,
a while.
yeah, our LPs are great. I mean, I talk to a lot of them, and that's one, because I'm an LPer. I don't bond provide. I'm just strictly LP, and that's a decision I've made. Just, I want to be there. I want to be with them in the trenches a little bit. If I pulled out my LP, I don't think that would be good optically. So I'm straight LP. I don't have any bond providing or anything like that. And I'll be like that for a while. I talk to a lot of LPers. These guys are really smart. They're happy about the changes we're making, and it's time. If you are someone who's LP on other protocols, I highly encourage you to research THORChain, understand how it works, the incentive pendulum and permanent loss. Do a lot of research. LPs, there's the incentive pendulum, right? There's, I think we're making like 70 something % right now, LPs are. That's fantastic. And our revenue, our fees we're generating are exploding. The protocol now is profitable. Like, our block rewards they're now less than our income. There is not many protocols that exist that can say that. What THORChain has accomplished just on that metric alone, that's a pretty big deal. And now there's talks of, as this continues to grow, that we scale back block rewards and maybe even someday remove them entirely and just be a pure fee, just pure revenue.
Yeah.
And that would be great. That would be great. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else or any other questions? Because there's just so many things going on right now that it's hard. And
we might need to do a part 2.
Yeah, because I say so many things, like, I didn't even talk about how economically secure node operators, how they run a full node of each supported chain, and how they bond more in dollar amount than they secure of the native crypto assets, and how if they steal, they'll lose more money than they steal. There's no trust. There's no altruism in THORChain. It's just raw incentives, right? If you try to do something nefarious, you're going to lose more money than you steal. I can't remember if it's 1.5 or 2 times the amount of money or what it is, but if they try to steal funds, like, their bond gets slashed and LPs are made whole, and the reserve gets more money. I mean, it's such a solid design, a solid design. And like I said, that's from all the different people from all walks of life, the fighter pilots, the economists, everyone just attacking it and debating, and what is the most fair system? What is the system that results in the most ubiquitous form of success? And that's what we got, an incentive pendulum. When there's high bond, the rewards go to the LPs. And when the pools get high, the reward goes to the bond. And so the incentives for depositing money keeps building THORChain up and up. Genius.
We'll definitely do a part 2, because I feel like there's so much more that you could share and people would enjoy to watch.
Yeah.
And I agree that it was challenging. This is the exciting part, and there is just so much to be excited about, and there's so much coming. And we'll need you to answer lots of questions and come on and help explain everything that's coming.
Yeah, and for sure, get people from other people too, because there are people in this community who are far smarter than myself and probably can explain things much better than I can. There are so many great people. I think this is a great idea what you're doing. Put faces to these avatars. Like, we have these avatars, and then just humanizing us a little bit, because we are real people behind these avatars. And if you go back to the early videos of Chad Barraford talking about THORChain before we had mainnet, before we even had ChaosNet, he said, I am building this to economically liberate the world. And that's what he's done. He went through a life event, so he's been away from the project. But if I was to finish this, to cap it off, I would just say, Chad, I hope you're doing great, man. This community loves you, and we hope you come back soon, because if anybody deserves to see THORChain flourish and succeed, it is certainly you. So hope you're doing good, man. But people ask about you all the time, and we love you and hope you're doing well.
That's very kind. And Chad, if you're listening, we hope you come back and sing for us too.
He's good at dry humping and he's good at singing.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting story.
He was just being silly. He's a really cool guy. We're just having fun. You got to think you're coding all day, and you're out having fun with your buddies and you get together. It was just a silly moment he was doing, but it was my first impression of him. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, but that's what you gotta do. You gotta have fun. You gotta enjoy. Just not take things so seriously.
Yeah. You only get one life. Have goals, have dreams, have desires, push for them hard, but then have a light side. Live it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Enjoy, touch grass. Yeah.
Wise words. For people that want to follow you or message you, would you say Telegram or Twitter?
Yeah, you probably share a link for the Telegram on there, but you'll see me on PatriotSounds on Telegram, PatriotSounds on X. You can follow me. If you have any questions or if something I said didn't make sense, you can ask me. If you are a wallet and you're interested in integrating THORChain, you can DM me. I will put you in touch with resources where you can get to making money, because again, you're losing money to the centralized exchanges. That's no good. And I'll get you started and I'll put you in the right direction.
Dennis, you're awesome. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks, Jade. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll do it again sometime.
Absolutely.